Looking for a new car or expert service? Visit Limerick Motor Centre, your main Hyundai dealer on the Ballysimon Road. A proud family business for over 30 years, we're Ireland's longest-serving Hyundai dealer. With sales, service, parts and finance all under one roof, our dedicated team delivers value, expertise and customer care you can trust. Call 061 417 141 or visit limerickmotorcentre.ie. Limerick Motor Centre, driving with you for over 30 years.
The impression the game you get out with what you put into it's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well tried, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry. Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
You're very welcome to Treaty Talk. It is episode 358 with myself, Tom Clancy, and once again, the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers, Matt O'Callaghan. Matt, the Christmas tree is up in my house. Is it up in yours? Are we getting to that time of year now where the number of games is running out and the festivities can begin?
It is ready to be erected this evening, Tom. That's the plan after the podcast. It is planned to do so.
Very good, very good. Yeah, it's a busy time of the year off the field. On the field, there's still, I suppose, a few matters, and I suppose we'll look at the crowning of 3 county champions. We'll start there, Matt. We'll have to come to our guests as well in a few moments, reflecting on one of the great breakthroughs in Limerick GA this season. We'll come to that shortly. But there was silverware handed out over the weekend in the form of 3 under-20 championship titles, namely the B, the A, and indeed the Premier. Between us, we were at all 3 games, Matt. I don't think anyone can argue with the 2 games I was at that there was worthy winners, but you ended up, we'll start with the B, you ended up with the tightest of the 3 finals in the form of the under-20B final.
Yeah, we had a very good final between Belleville Gales, who were a combination of Fianna Kilmeady and Fiohanna. Now, it was their first ever title. They have come together at underage level a couple of years ago, and they beat Blackrock in what I thought was a very, very good under-20 final. Now, it started late. It was originally scheduled for 12 o'clock, but it was deferred until 2 o'clock, and it started further late. There was issue with a locked dressing room and what have you, but it's one of those things that can happen. Especially, and I suppose it gives you an idea that you have to be very careful in fixing matches for a pitch when on the same day that the club's pitch, the club that own the pitch, are involved in a big final themselves, and that's what happened with Mungret on Sunday. And on Sunday they were away at McNeville Park for the most part, supporting their team, and rightly so. But notwithstanding that, we had a very, very good final, Tom, and it was played in difficult conditions. Now, the pitch was absolutely first class, Tom. First class. You couldn't believe the state of the pitch. And I'm not talking about the state of the pitch before the game. I'm talking about it after the game. There was hardly a mark in it. And by God, but much of the game was played in incessant rain. And but both teams served up some very, very, very good hurling and some excellent scores. And I think the honours went to where they really belong, because overall in play, I think Belleville Gales shaded it. Now it was quite tight, but they had a better scoring threat. 5 players from Belleville Gales got on the score sheet, whilst for Blackrock, only just 2 players accounted for their entire tally. So, overall, I thought there was some very, very good hurling in it, and some very, very good scores taken in it, Tom, and some very good individual performances by players. at this end of the year. But I suppose there is nothing to focus the minds of players more than a final and a piece of silverware at the end of it. So, yeah, congratulations to Belleville Gales. Hard luck to Blackrock, but that's not Blackrock, Tom. I would say most of the Blackrock team, the vast majority of the Blackrock team are eligible again next year. And I would say there's quite an amount of them even eligible for 2 years. It was a very, very young Blackrock team, but they gave a very, very good account of themselves.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a competition that was dominated by amalgamations, and I think there was 15 teams, and I think maybe 3 or 4 were only standalone clubs, and Blackrock being one of them. Now, I know people will say it's Kilfinnan and Patrick, but certainly since those players came in the door, it's been one club, and always has been, and
somebody gave me that argument, and I nailed it in the head. Blackrock is a combination of Patrick and Kilfinnan, as you rightly say, but it's a combination for the last 40, nearly 50 years.
Absolutely, I know.
Nobody can say that it's a combination of 2 clubs.
Yeah, no, and look,
I do remember a team in Patrick, and I remember a club in Patrick.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's as far back as when Moses was a boy, Nelly,
Very good. Just look, and congratulations to Belleville. I'm not trying to knock it in terms of when you have an imagination.
Oh no, not for 1 minute.
Because
yeah, I was talking at Lynn to Ger Galvin after the game, who was one of the mentors. And he gave a very valid explanation as to how Belleville Gale came into being, and it was a needs must, Tom. It was, as you know, and we have said here on a number of occasions, it's a numbers game.
It is. It is. We'll probably come to that when we talk about the Premier final in a moment. It's probably inconceivable that some of the rural clubs could contest a 20s grade, the top grade on their own. A lot of the rural clubs just simply do not have the numbers, not to mind the talent, but just to have the actual depth of 20 to 25 players eligible. It's not feasible for so many clubs, unfortunately.
Tom, and it we better prepare ourselves down the road for the amalgamation of clubs at adult levels.
A full stop amalgamation, to make them.
Yeah, it's something, Tom, that I have to say, in my opinion, is not very far around the corner.
For a number of clubs, no, I wouldn't think so. There
are murmurings of clubs joining.
There is. We've heard some in maybe West Limerick. We've seen probably the most recent one is formerly done was Killaloe Pallaskenry, and look at the success that has brought. They were two sister clubs kind of at times, kind of standalone clubs at other times, and eventually trialled it as a Killaloe Gales, and then formally pushed together as one. But look, not to knock Belleville Gales' achievement by any means. They were worthy of their win, I believe, on the day, and just got over the line against a gallant Blackrock effort.
I wouldn't knock Belleville Gales at all. I would commend Belleville Gales and commend the respective clubs of Fianna Kilmeedy and Fiona for facing up to reality and looking for a pragmatic solution. Now, they have guys playing hurling, that if they were to stay apart, there wouldn't be fielding teams.
No, that's it.
And they're hurling at a decent level. And now some of them have got silverware. Now, silverware, whilst it's great, it's not the be all and end all of everything. Participation is the big one, and going out there and performing. And I totally commend Belleville Gales, and I totally commend how they approach this thing and how they embraced an amalgamation when it was staring them in the face, because there are clubs that don't embrace it, and what do you get? Walkovers.
Yeah, very, very true. Moving up to the second tier, the under-20A, this was played in Kilmallock. It was South Limerick venue, South Limerick referee, and it was South Limerick teams involved. Naomh, namely Knockany and Hospital Hubberstown, which I believe the panel was split 14-12 with Knockany slightly more dominant. But they were second best on the day, Matt, to Gary Spillane, who crowned what has been a memorable year for the club. 216 to 112 victors, and goals early in the piece decided this one, Matt, because Tiernan Ryan got one, and then he set up one for the very, very impressive Hugh Flanagan. And that was largely the difference then between themselves and Naomh Eoin in the wind-up then when it came to full-time.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year for Gary Spillane, a fantastic year on the hurling pitch for Hugh Flanagan, despite the fact that he lost his father during the year, sadly. He's had an excellent year with Gary Spillane, and it's only this week that he won an All-Ireland Freshers medal with UL. So wherever it is, Hugh Flanagan has been outstanding. He was outstanding when Gary Spillane played Tallow in the Munster Clubs Championship down in Waterford. And he really has been outstanding with the under-20s. He has been their really go-to man. And Gary Spillane were worthy winners, Tom. As I said, I didn't see the game. I was tied up on Saturday. And I had a suspicion from out a while that Gary Spillane would make a real bold effort to win the under-20 championship, and my suspicions were well founded. And just on Gary Spillane, Tom, they had a fantastic night on last Saturday night.
After this one,
in the welcome in Gary Spillane when there was, first of all, it was a 20-year reunion of the team that won the club's only Limerick Senior Hurling Championship in 2005. And they were joined. They also reflected back on the team that won the county under 21 hurling championship in 2003. And if that wasn't enough, the team that won the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Sevens in 2003. So it was a huge night. And of course, it was gate crashed by the latest kids on the block.
Yeah.
The boys who a couple of hours earlier had defeated Naomh Eoin Canuck Gaels. So they had a fantastic night out there in the welcome in last Saturday night.
And
the like of Tony Considine, who was manager at the time, and who later went on to manage Kilmallock and win a county with him and a Munster championship. But no, he won a county definitely, and of course was selected with Clare in the 90s when they won an All Ireland. But the important thing about one of the important things about Gary Spillane in 2005, that the man that wore the number 2 jersey, right full back, was a certain John Kiley.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they presented him with the jersey as well. The real retro-looking striped black and white.
Yes.
PDM Construction, the sponsor, on it. Very plain jersey in its own right, but very memorable one to see. Yeah. And look, the funny thing, I know TJ Ryan, we were interviewing him after the match, after the 20s win. You know, he was obviously part of that team as well, a very key.
TJ was very much part of it.
Managed the 20s, but he did say to me, he joked, he said that some of these lads didn't exist back in 2005, and some of them were only a thought. And that was probably a very aptly way of putting it. I think he might have been quoting John Kiley with that, but I'm not sure. But no, it was great. Like, because it's bizarre how it worked out. Like, the oldest players on the 20s were born in 2005, and that was the one and only year that they brought home the Daily Cup.
TJ, of course, scored 3-4 in the All Ireland sevens final.
Right.
And in one of the group games in the sevens, he scored 4-3.
Right. Okay. Really suited him. So that the smaller pitch and the smaller numbers, but fair play. But no, it's great to see.
Yeah, but it's a club on the move, and they may have been down in 2023 when they lost their senior status, but they bounced back. There's no point in going away and wallowing in it. You have got to do something positive, and certainly you can be absolutely sure, Tom, that the first thing in Gary Spillane's agenda was to bounce back. And it might have taken them 2 years, but I think they bounced back a much stronger outfit. And with that under-20 team coming through, I think they're much better prepared for senior hurling in 2026.
Yeah, they are the aptly named bouncers. So in this instance, just a word on Naomh Eoin. I know they very disappointed with their performance. Obviously, I had a small few connections for myself with some of the lads at Knockania that I would have played football with this year. Didn't really build up a head of steam during the game at any point. Those 2 early goals set them back, and it was just disappointing, from the combination side, that they just couldn't really get close enough to Gary Spillane to really make a fist of it.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. And obviously it would have been a very, very good year for especially the Knockany element of the combination. To have won the Junior B football. They won the Junior football, Tom, if you can recall, with a last minute point by their goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah,
And if they could have added the under 20 hurling, it would be very, very nice across codes to win 2 titles. But it wasn't to be, and I felt, as I said, I felt from a bit out now, Tom, that Gareth Spillane were the team to beat in it, and especially with Hugh Flanagan in such excellent form, that it was going to be very, very, very difficult. Now I understand that in the final, Tom, that some Gareth Spillane connections told me that Kieran Hyland had an excellent game in goals.
Superb, yeah. And he was only robbed of a clean sheet with basically the last puck of a game from a free that was roofed by Rory Rail. But yeah, in fairness, he had an outstanding game. A couple of great saves, and the game was still a contest, And unfortunately for him, the clean sheet was robbed. But I'm sure he was one of the many who was the toast of Gary Spillane on Saturday evening. I'm conscious now, Matt, we've our guests waiting in the wings. We just moved to the 20s Premier Final, and that was a meeting of Mungret St. Paul's and Na Piarsaigh. Could talk about a numbers game. I did joke on Twitter after that Mungret must be sick of winning at this stage, because every few months or weeks, it seems at this stage, we're watching them collect silverware, and it's the first time they've won the under 20 grade. I know it's only been 2 years of it, but the top tier of the 20/21 turning for the second time.
They did win the 21 and 23.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they've done 2. They've won a 21 and a 20s now in recent times,
Yeah.
having never won it before, I believe. So at the top tier, anyway.
They had never won the top tier before. You're correct.
Yeah, so it's pretty, and it's at the same venue actually as well. But it's another big milestone for the club, and another title really. And they were worthy winners over Na Piarsaigh, who again, a bit like the A final, just couldn't get close enough to them as this game wore on.
No, I didn't see the final, but I saw both semi-finals, Tom. I saw them on Stream Sport, and I rapidly came to the conclusion after seeing the Mungret St. Paul semi-final that they were firm favourites to win it. Now it was a youngish Na Piarsaigh team, but the way they eventually disposed of the holders, county champions last year, Mona Lean, to me was very, very impressive. And like Tom, they have some very, very good players in that Mungret team, and of course they were completing another excellent double for the club. You're right about it. It's becoming monotonous seeing silverware being handed out to men in red and green, red and white, and as I say, I didn't see the final, but I saw both semi-finals, and I wasn't surprised that the honours would go to Mungret St. Paul's in this one.
Yeah, 215 to 110, and I think the man who would have drawn the game nearly on his own was Mark O'Brien, 110 himself, or is it 19? I can't remember now which. But sorry, 110. It was 110 where he got in the end, including a 65, a line ball, a free, a goal from play, and a point from play. So he had it all really on the day,
The full hand.
Yeah, the full hand. All he was missing was a penalty, but none seemed to come their way. But for a great performance by him. But Fintan Fitzgerald, the captain, I thought he was immense in his work rate. The likes of, that Rory O'Callaghan. I'm trying to think who else was really prominent.
Rory O'Callaghan played Celtic Challenge this year.
Yeah, and he shone quite well in it. Luke Walsh got the goal in the first half. Killian Begley got 2 points and set up the other goal. So the future is bright, I think, for Mungret.
Absolutely.
It goes without saying. It goes without saying. But worthy winners. And Na Piarsaigh, I think that Na Piarsaigh team probably hadn't been the most vintage of Na Piarsaigh teams on the way up. Hadn't, as far as I'm aware, hadn't even reached a county semi-final or final at their own age group. And got to a county final on this occasion, just falling short, which is disappointing for them. But you know,
But they had a number of Limerick minors on it, which will tell you that it was a youthful and piercing side.
Yeah, that's it. And I think we probably haven't seen the last of some of these guys, so it'll be
Certainly not.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Okay,
Certainly not.
We'll be
You can always take in the concluding stages of the under-20 championship or under-21 championship, as it was known. The Piercy are fixtures in the concluding stages.
Yeah, almost without fail. Now, Matt, next on the agenda is back to football. And I know people will say we haven't had much football as of late, but we taking time out of a quieter schedule to reflect on one of the breakthrough achievements in Limerick Gaelic games, not a mind football, Matt, this season, and it's the form of Camoge Rovers. We'll bring in our two guests momentarily, Matt, but just, I suppose, briefly from yourself, a fantastic year for them to break through and get a county title in their 100th season. Absolutely,
Tom. I was absolutely delighted for him. Absolutely delighted to be present when it finally came, because there have been, and we'll be talking to the lads in a minute, there were a couple of near misses over the last 3 or 4 years. And for anybody that doesn't know, Camoge Rovers are drawn from Miannis, which is part of the parish of Bruff. So Bruff would be their sister club, as their much the same as Patrickswell and Ballybrown, who are from the one parish. Bruff and Camoge Rovers are also from the one parish. But through thick and thin over the years, they have doggedly fought to get to where they are today. And Willie has been, who will be one of our guests in a minute, has been with him 5 years. And himself and his management team over the last 5 years, they've done a wonderful, wonderful job in getting up through the ranks, and they'll be playing Premier junior football next year. And from what I saw, Tom, they won't be in the slightest bit out of place.
Yeah, by all means, no, because they've been very competitive at their own grade for the last few years and have that winning momentum, as we often speak about. Okay.
You see, they're coming with a very solid base, Tom. If you get a team that comes suddenly overnight like a mushroom, you can disappear like a mushroom too. But this is a team, and this is a project, and this is a squad that have learned the hard way. And they got over the county final this year in extra time because they were battle-hardened over the last couple of years. And I think there's a very, very solid foundation in Rovers, looking forward to Premier Junior football next year.
Yeah, okay, well, let's not take Matt's word for it. Let's hear from the lads themselves in the form of Will and Evan from the management team, backroom team, whatever, all sorts of roles involved, lads. You're very welcome to Treaty Talk. Congratulations on your success, and I suppose we'll start with you, William, as the manager. I believe it was I saw your interview with the Limerick leader. You didn't seem too overcome with emotion in one sense, but I'd say deep down you were extremely proud and extremely, I suppose, privileged to have been, heavily involved in that breakthrough for Camoge Rovers. 100 years waiting for a county title, and here it is. Oh yeah, look, it was fantastic. That's the absolute fantastic. It was no better feeling on a GA field, to be honest with you. Had some good years over the years, and was a member of Rackhill junior team that won a county. They all pale in comparison to that day, to be honest with you. It was unreal to be part of it. Unreal to do it for, as I said, like the community, all the people, all the mentors that looked after these lads, whether it was underage in Bruff or whether it was junior football in Camoge, wherever. For all those people, like, it was all their hard work. Not only our own through this year and the last couple of years, it was everyone's hard work that kind of brought us all to that day. And it was unreal, to be honest with you. Absolutely. Yeah. Unreal. Matt mentioned the parish there. It's a big parish geographically. Bruff, Grange, Miannis. That's one I've got to know myself, I suppose, in recent years. Miannis itself, though, a very, very small village. I had never been to the pitch there myself until this year. I think I've I played more matches there this year than anywhere else. For whatever reason, it seems to have worked out. A lot of games in Mianus, and in fairness, the club have been very welcoming to county fixtures across the grades, it seems, this year. It's, as I said, a very small village, but for whatever reason, everyone involved in this club for the last 100 years have persevered. There's probably been times where it's been very, very tough. I'm sure the last few years have been relatively easy in one sense, but it's been tough, I'm sure, going back the years. So to actually get over the line, it must be just, it must be such relief, especially if you look at older members who would have seen the tough days that have come and gone in the past.
Yeah, for definite. In recent years, like, we've probably been blessed with, even over the years, like South Junior Hurling Championships, and then the County League we won. A couple of years ago we won South Leagues. Back like in probably the 95 we got to County Junior B football final, but like even before that it was long years of nothing. I think the club went at one stage 56, 57 years without winning a South Junior Championship, and in that period of time we only won one football junior championship. So like there's been a lot of barren spells, but the only thing that I'm kind of looking forward to probably is that when we run into a vein of form, we kind of stick to it for a few years. So I'm hoping for the next few years that might run through, and we'll continue in the good vein of form we've been in,
Yeah, for sure. Evan, just to throw to yourself, I think S&C and General Jobsman, we were joking about it there a minute ago. It must be a great boost for you when a team comes good in extra time and they find it a new lease of life. But it was very close to being all over it there. Held the upper hand heading towards the 60 odd minutes. Your lads dug it out, got level, and managed to kick on in especially the first period of extra time. Was it 6 or 7 unanswered points?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I suppose that's the best feeling as an S&C. If it was the other way around, then you were probably not coming out to the pub afterwards because it'd be your fault. But no, it was, in fairness to the lads, they had some unbelievable work done throughout the year and in the past few years. Like, it was just a case of getting over the line in this year. But it was like probably with a few minutes to go, and even when that goal went in for a day, you're probably wondering, was it going to be another one of those days? But the lads they just, when it really mattered, they turned it on, and in extra time they did just show exactly what they're made of, and they pulled away. But it was fantastic to be a part of.
Matt?
Willie, I know you've been involved with the club as manager for the last 5 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This was your 4th final in 5 years, I think.
That's yeah. Unfortunately, four attempts, but yeah.
How difficult was it at the start of this year, Willie, to come back, having lost 3 finals in 4 years? How did you dispel whatever doubts and lack of confidence that might be there? Because, like, you were beaten by a single point in last year's final. Now, you were well beaten by Castletown, Ballygran and Mungret, we'll say, in the previous finals. But last year, you had come so tantalisingly close. There must have been a job in picking up the lads, was there?
To be honest with you, there wasn't. It was an appetite. Like, every one of them felt that we were not finished, Every one of them were agreed that our end goal was to win a county championship, and I don't think that there was any picking up needed, to be honest with you. They wanted to do it for Camoge Rovers, they wanted to do it for people at Parish, and it was very easy, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Appetite was great. We couldn't, I think we went back the earliest ever this year, to be honest with you. I think we went back the start of February. We were back training. And I think that that was a major factor in the end as well of the year, like that we were able to draw upon all those cold nights in February, the training we done then, and to be able to that shone through then in the later stages in the extra time especially. But for me, there was no question, to be honest with you. This was the end goal. We had to win it, and we'll keep going as long as it took us, but yeah.
All right, it was the end goal, and obviously it was the target. And I suppose every club that sets off every year, it's that target. At any stage during the year, did any doubt set in?
I I think probably 5 or 6 minutes to go in normal time was the only time that I had any kind of bad feeling. And to be honest with you, the bad feeling was like, how am I going to face these lads? You know, how am I going to pick them up? You know, that was going through my head for a couple of seconds. But especially I look at the likes of Punchy and stuff. You know, especially him. Like there was just the amount of work he had done. Like it went through my head. Like, how am I going to look that man in the eyes? Do you know that kind of way? So up until that period of time, I'd say it didn't cross my mind that we were going to lose. And even at that stage, that feeling lasted a few seconds. I said, no. I turned around to Andy and I said, we've been here before. We're going to power on. We're going to get this done. And yeah, they did it, to be fair to them.
Yeah. Evan, you've been around Camoge for a while and have hurled with Camoge. What was particularly different about this team? Did you share the same confidence that Willie shared, that Willie had, that this would be their year at last?
Yeah, I suppose I'm only there, the year before COVID, so whenever that was, maybe 5 years or so, 5, 6 years. And something that kind of caught me this year, I suppose I got involved last year towards the end when they needed a hand. So I haven't been around as long as Willie, but when I started up in February with him, I couldn't get over the buy-in. Like, it was unbelievable. You kind of knew from basically the first session. I'd say the average attendances all year were, you could correct me now, Will, but it was definitely 20 fellas, 18 at the least. Like, it was constant, like, fellas turning up in the muck and the hardship and the slog in February. Like, it was unbelievable. You kind of knew, you can tell very, very quick whether a team is buying in or not. And even when, like, even in the group stage when things weren't kind of going our way and we lost a game or two, we kind of knew that if we got the chance to get out, like, these lads had enough done and they were kind of sticking to what we were kind of planning to do. Like, it was, in fairness, February, March, April, you knew that there was something building. There was no way that it wasn't going to be somewhat of a special year. We wanted it, but we didn't expect it to be so special. But like, you knew in the early stages that it was going to be one of those years.
From a strength and conditioning point of view, Evan, it must be extremely satisfying for yourself, the way that the Rovers turned up in extra time in the county final, because they absolutely outplayed it there.
Yeah, I suppose that could have went either way, but tis very satisfying.
Yeah, but from a fitness point of view,
yeah, like, tis lovely. Like, but as I said, like, it could have went either way there. But luckily the lads had, like, in fairness, they had a lot of work done, all of them. All those 30 fellas, like, there wasn't just 10, 15 fellas doing it. Like, there was 30 fellas putting in that hard work. And then when it comes to it on the day, like, when you have the work done, it does show. And luckily, look, it just came good at the right time. That's what we hoped for, and it did. So thankfully it came good.
Evan, we were joking before we started recording that I came across you in a challenge match, but I played against you in a league match. What was it? It would have been the South League, I think, and it was probably a mix of your two teams, but that's what it was said to me in the day anyway. There's some of these lads will be playing Junior Junior A, and some of them will be playing Junior C. To actually have a second team was probably important as well in the grand scheme of things, because it's very hard to keep over 30 lads or 20 odd lads happy, but to have a second team there at different times will you can lean on that, and lads can find their feet, and just to have that buy-in as well. I know the club fielded a minor team as well this year, and will field the 20s team in the coming days, hopefully, as well. So, it kind of rising tide lifts all boats in a lot of ways. When you have that much buy-in across the different grades, it surely helps, because going with one team sometimes can prove challenging, I'm sure, from a player's numbers point of view.
Jesus, yeah, 100% for the last few years since I'm involved, even just keeping an eye on the football side of things, like even the hurling side of things, like, you would be kind of struggling for numbers in a way. Like, so this year to have 30, 35 fellas there at some stages, like, even just for a training perspective, you can do whatever you want. You're not trying to mind fellas. You can play different fellas on different days, and you're keeping a lot of fellas happy with the two teams as well. Like, you know, everyone gets game time. Like, there was so much games. Even I put on the boots there at one stage as well. So it was a great year in fairness, and even to have the minor teams, the 20 teams, it's only good things. Like, if you have two teams to be playing, like, everyone's happy. Well, to a certain extent, and everyone like gets loads of games
as much as they can be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Will, more importantly, celebrations. What were they like? Now I heard, there was I was involved in some celebrations that weekend. Thankfully, they went down a fair bit, but my God, I heard yours went down a little bit more and more, and
Yes.
probably just that explosion of pure joy, I suppose, for everyone.
Yeah, it was unreal just to see people that you haven't seen in so long, like, come out and celebrate, and like past players that I can remember growing up watching, all in the pub at the same time, that kind of way, and enjoying and participating in the celebrations, and even just the players themselves just getting together and having that moment. It was unreal. Like, after the game, we regrouped in the community centre and like took a few minutes probably ourselves just to kind of let it sink in a bit, and I think, and then we went over then to the pub, and we probably spent a couple of days there, probably with a few sleep breaks. But look, it allowed different personalities too. Like, it allowed those kind of the people that run the party side of things to come to the fore for a couple of days, and then we all had a great time, and look, I know there's a committee planning a victory social, I think, and a kind of centenary celebration will probably be in February, and I think that'll be another great night as well, and the guys deserve to celebrate. And look, as Mac said, like before, we've had a lot of hardship over the years, so I think if we ever were entitled to celebrate, it was a few weeks ago. And we did it in style, we can say for sure.
For sure, yeah. I think you've.
Yeah, but Willie, sorry, Tom, Willie, before you went to the pub, my understanding that is you took the cup and the players to visit a special member of your club, which was a lovely touch.
Yeah, Mike Hogan, he was selector of the team actually that lost the county final in 1995. So yeah, it was great, and actually, the people who look after him in a nursing home after the team left, they kind of got a bit sorry that Mike wasn't able to participate. So we had a late visitor to Hogan's that night, and Mike joined us for a few minutes, which was great, and got plenty of photos with other kind of club legends, as they say, they're all there out in force. So it was great, yeah. It's for all those kind of people that kept the club going. I know we don't want to mention names, but especially in the football side of things, like Tom Lillis there, and Paddy Cusick, like Mike Hogan, all them kind of people, Paddy Cusick, the list can go. We could be here all day talking about fellas that have done so much for Camoge Rovers, but I think that for a majority of those to be there on that day, and a lot of them to be able to join us that night as well, it was great to get those pictures with the cups, for sure,
A 3-year crusade on your part ended when you got a certain Andrew Lane on board.
Oh, right,
yeah. Tell me about the impact of Andrew Lane.
Look, unreal, and I think supposed to look, and Andy will say it himself, where he was able to come in, Evan had done so much of the hard work probably, and got to the lads were at a stage where they were now ready to play football, kind of way. And then for somebody like Andy to be able to come in and look, we've had other people over the years, and but I think that the team just took to him, and Andy took to the lads. Even talking there in the last couple of weeks, he was there, to me, he goes I'll never forget the celebrations. He goes, I'll never forget the moment. He goes, it was probably the most special moment he said he's ever felt in a football field. And coming from him, someone like him, with the amount of experience he has, it just shows a lot. He was just, I think, at times with the quality of player we had, and just to have him on board, just his way of thinking. And I think this year as well, it was especially with the rule changes. I think that if you weren't up to date with the rules, and if you weren't able to keep up to date with the rules, then you were going to flounder. And as I like Andy, I think straight away when Andy came in, he started sending out list of rules and making sure the lads learnt them off, and we were like every night was a learn, something new was being introduced, like, and like I can't say nothing but full praise of him. Like, he was absolutely fantastic, and he really treated us like he treated us, I'd say, as well as he treat any kind of a team, whether it was a senior team, an intercounty team, anything. Like, he put in the amount of hours with us that he would have done in any of those. I'd say it was absolutely unreal to have someone like him. And to be honest, we were blessed. Like, especially, as I said, Evan had most of the donkey work done, and he had the boys in the good shape, and Didin was able to come in and finish off the job, as I say.
He just had to do the fine tuning. Well, just going back to the week of the county final, a few people looking at the fixtures, one or two people said to me they didn't know where Knock-On was, people within Limerick, and one or two or more said they didn't know where Camoge was. You've put Camoge firmly on the map now, and I know myself and Matt have done our best to explain where these clubs are. And I know obviously the Camoge is the name of the river that would go through the area, but what do you see as the next steps now for the club? It must be exciting to be heading up to the Premier Junior grade, because you're playing different teams again. You're playing, a higher standard of football, and I suppose you'll hope to obviously consolidate first of all, but you probably look to use the momentum you have the last few years now to give it a right all go again in 2026.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think it's all about going to regroup now again and getting, like, over this year there was obviously a few lads that have fallen away off the panel probably and off the team, and it's probably might be a challenge now to get some of those back, because a lot of those had great potential, but maybe they weren't able to give full commitment and stuff like that this year. Like, I think that we just will, as a club and as a team, we'll probably just have to start again as a blank canvas and try to get everybody that can kick a football back playing again, and go from there. And I think that if we can do that, if we can hold all the players we have, and look, I know there's already a few talking about moving on and stuff like that, and immigrating and stuff like that, but look, every team is probably going to go through that. But I think if we can just hold as much as what we can, and then build on that, and then obviously, like, we had the addition this year of an extra few lads from Brough, and that was a great boost to us, like, especially after we losing a couple of lads over the last few years. Like, we had three lads that were playing with us from Knockany, Stephen O'Donnell, Cookie and Blackwell. They left us obviously because Knockany had a football team, so they were a massive loss for us, like, leading into last year. And then for us to pick up those extra players this year from Brough was great. It was unbelievable, and I think that, look, hopefully we can consolidate that and try to get more through from an underage point of view as well. And if we can do that, and if we can build on that, and then there's a few lads this year that had niggly injuries and stuff like that, and maybe some of them that haven't played as best as they can play either. If they can all change it around, I'm sure that we'll be definitely targeting trying to get to, I'd say, look, I don't think we'll be even targeting trying to get out of a group. I think that you'll be trying to get to a semi-final of a target and see what happens from that,
Very good. You're throwing down the gauntlet to lads already.
I just want to put one question to both of you lads, and this is fact. He got beaten in the county final in 2024 by a point. A Han won the Premier Junior this year. Can you emulate it?
Be careful.
My answer would be anyway. Evan probably has a more cautious approach, but I'll let Evan answer.
No, you're the boss. I'll go whatever you say. No, I do think the lads are capable of it, like, but you don't want to be putting too much pressure on them either to say they have to go and do it. But you see, like, even Mungret won it a couple of years back before that, and you see a couple of their lads playing senior football, so you can see that the junior ranks can take a step up, all right, and obviously a hand won it again this year, so you'll be hoping that the lads, if we can keep everyone together and get a few more additions in this, we can make a good stab at it. But again, you don't want to put too much pressure on the lads either. It's their first year up. I suppose the goal for me would be to get a foothold in that Premier Junior ranks and then build. But Will wants to go straight to senior, so
yeah.
I think this like as a whole, I think now is a really good time for the club to build. Kind of Like especially this year with the minor with under 20 team, like there's opportunities there for either further progression for sure, you know. And I think that the want is there, the people is there, the appetite is there. So I think that like a phrase that you use a lot, Matt, is that like you have to strike when the iron is hot, as they said, you know. And I really think that they have to do that, you know. They can't sit back and on their laurels, you know. So yeah.
The last question from me, Tom, and this is for Will. Your old club, Redkeel, good year of consolidation at senior level?
Oh yeah, they did a great year, and obviously I think that missing lads at various different times probably kind of like had caused them great issue for different stages of championship. But yeah, consolidating. I think the last time they went up, it went back down the same year, and so like or the following year. So this was a great year for them to stay up for sure. Like yeah, that's my hurling club now. Kappa is a football club, Matt. So yeah, so they had a great year as well. Obviously, only getting beat in the semi-final of the intermediate, and like Jesus, the work the Kappa are doing, putting in there, is unreal.
Simply phenomenal.
Yeah, even the field, you know, and all with the facilities that are there now, it's unreal. They had 2 teams entered as well this year. So yeah, there's great work going on in both clubs here that I'm lucky to be part of. So yeah.
Yeah, in fairness to Kappa, just to kind of link it back to yourselves, lads, for Camoge, they showed a team going up a grade, held no fears, and did well. They actually were the only team to beat Skeeton, Ballysteen, Kilcornan, who won it out. Like, so it shows you when you have that momentum. I think you're right, Will. You have to strike while the iron is hot. Lads, we're wishing you the best. So for the off season, let the lads winter well now, Evan. Let them enjoy it. Bring them back in then into the muck and the rain and everything in February or March or whenever the leagues are underway, and get them back into it. But we're wishing you the best with your centenary celebrations that are in the planning and the medal celebration and all that. I'm sure it'll be another powerful night for Mianis and the surrounds. So best of luck with that, lads. Congratulations on the win, and enjoy the winter of being junior A champions.
Well done, lads. Congratulations. I agree with everything Tom said.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Cheers, lads. Yeah, great to have the lads on there. And
it's a fantastic story, Tom. It's one of those fairy tales come true, you know. 100 years of honest endeavour, and it was honest endeavour over the years, and it was fruitless endeavour, and to finally come to fruition. And as I said, Tom, the base is good because they didn't mushroom into becoming county champions. It was a solid. It was 4 finals in 5 years. You know,
and they were getting closer.
Get there at the 4th attempt, and we saw Croke Kilfinney were in a similar situation at intermediate hurling, but they did it. They were 4 years in a row, and look, it was one of the great days. It was one of my highlights of the year to see. A club 100 years in existence and marking the 100th year with their first county title. It's the stuff of dreams, of fairy tales coming true.
Yeah, it's a lesson in perseverance, isn't it? You know, I know there's plenty of clubs around the county who are waiting a long time, but I mean, 100 years, I don't know, is there any club waiting that long for a title? I know Croke themselves, actually, now that you mention them, were waiting since 1913 up until 2021 or something like that, or 2020 championship, for a title, and then they ended up with 2 in the space of 4 or 5 years, so it can be done. Clubs just need to put in the groundwork, and clearly from listening to the lads, they've done that, and yeah, it's
absolutely, like it's a labour of love for Willie Coffey for the last 5 years. He has been, so dedicated and so focused on it. And for people like him, and he named the like of Paddy Cusick, Tom Lillis, who were all there, Pat and men that have, served the club, and there are many more that have served the club with great distinction over the years. And Richie Ryan, the secretary, does an amount of work, and congratulations to everybody involved with Camoge Rovers, and it's a giant step in their path.
Yeah, just I suppose they're hoping it isn't another 100 years for the next one. But anyway, we shall see how they fare at the higher grade. But they've as I said, they put Camoge well and truly on the map in geographic or in GA terms in this county. Now, Matt, we just tidy up a few other bits and pieces. We'll just flip back to hurling for a moment. You did mention it in passing there. The Hugh Flanagan and a number of other Limerick men were prominent members of the University of Limerick's Freshers' success. They were winners on Tuesday evening away to DCU and brought home the Freshers title to UL for the 6th year in a row, Matt. And whatever they're doing in UL to attract the top talent, it seems to be working. And whatever they're doing on the field also seems to be working, because 6 in a row is some achievement for University of Limerick.
Absolutely. And we had three very prominent Limerick players: Hugh Flanagan, Matthew Fitzgerald, and a man from your own club, Jamie Coughlin, who was captain. And that's very interesting. His brother Colin captained the Fitzgibbon Cup winning team last year. So what is it that's running through the Coughlin veins that make them good captains? But they're great players and great captains. And congratulations to the lads on winning and making it 6 in a row. And now the attention, of course, those 3 players that I mentioned there are not eligible for the Fitzgibbon Cup, which takes place. And as we speak and as we record tonight, the Senior League final is going on between UCC and MIC, Mary Immaculate College in Limerick. And there'll be a number of players from Limerick on both sides. You have Shane O'Brien certainly is with Mary Immaculate.
I don't believe he's going to be involved this evening, but he's on the panel. I just have the Mary I panel.
William Dorr is on it.
William Dorr, Patrick Finn of Bruff. And Camoge Rovers in the football ranks this season. Mikey Gavin of Ballybrown, I believe, will be involved. And you have Jimmy Quilty. Jimmy
from Blackrock, of course.
Yeah,
and
Jack Daly of Croom as well. And
a very good player. I saw him last year. A very good player. He was on the Limerick under-20 squad.
And Sean Whelan of Cappamore as well.
Cappamore. Yeah. On the college squad, then on UCC squad, you have Fiona O'Brien from Brewery is in goals, and Daniel Scully from Atlanta is also on the panel.
Yeah. So,
and also talking about UCC, Darrell Gleeson from Adair featured on the UCC Freshers team this year.
Yeah, very good. Just to keep the UL team going, I suppose, last Wednesday evening, I know we recorded the podcast, I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but they won the Division 1 football title for the first time. Yeah. Now, not much Limerick involvement. Andrew Mead was introduced as a very late substitute in stoppage time, but still, it's a high level of football, and good to see a player like Andrew being exposed to that.
Absolutely. It was the thing that struck me. You know, he was in exalted company, coming in and playing in the third level colleges Division 1 league final. So it doesn't surprise me, because I thought Andrew had a very, very good year with Rathkeale, and he had a good year with Jimmy Lee's team as well. And I suppose it is reflective of how strong the Limerick team are. That Andrew wasn't nailing down a regular first team place on it. But
I think in time,
Andrew's an excellent footballer.
Yeah, 2 years with the senior footballer, so he'll be hoping to make it third year of kind of more prominence in the team. But playing Fitzgibbon or
Sigerson. And you know, the forthcoming Sigerson now would do Andrew Mead a power of good as well.
Yeah, and mentioning those, we'll stay on third level, I suppose, while we're here. The University of Limerick drawn to play away to MTU Cork I think it's MTU Cork anyway, in the opening round.
Yeah, MTU that's Munster Technical University of Cork.
Yeah, there's MTU Kerry in Cork, but I think it's MTU Cork.
MTU. Oh yes, of course, MTU Kerry have a team as well. You're right, Tom. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure actually which it is, but I think it's Cork. They will be away in the first round. If they win, they will play the winners of DCU and Ulster University, and if they lose, they'll play the losers of DCU and Ulster University. So it's basically winners play winners in the second round and losers play losers. So if you lose your first 2 games, you're out. if you win one of them, you're still in the hat basically as it goes forward. So we'll keep an eye on that as Andrew Mead is involved. Do you have any other Limerick players that we're aware of in the competition?
Not that I'm aware of. I know UCC go to ATU Sligo. I'm not aware of any Limerick players on the UCC panel.
Okay, and just to mention then the Fitzgibbon Cup draw was made. This is now a 12-team competition, 4 groups of 3. University of Limerick will play Maynooth away and DCU at home. There's a group then UCC, MTU Cork and Garda College. So there's a Cork Derby there. And then in
that's the 2nd year in a row there's been a Cork Derby.
Yeah, then in the group 3 of University of Galway, UCD, and Toos Midwest, obviously the Limerick institution, that's in group 3, and then in group 4, ATU Galway, SETU Waterford, and Mary Immaculate College, the winners a couple of seasons ago. So 3 Limerick colleges there. We'll be hoping to see plenty of Limerick involvement.
And very nicely spaced out in 3 different groups, Tom.
Yeah, I know there's been kind of an awful lot of UL versus one or the other Limerick colleges for the last years, but not the case this year. So possibility with 8 of the 12 coming through to the quarterfinals. Hopefully, we'll see 3 Limerick colleges get through.
I think from what I've seen about the draw that Limerick clubs can meet earlier than the final, or Limerick schools can meet earlier than the final.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Well, I know that UCC and UL could meet possibly in the semi-final. One of them to top the group and the other to be second.
I have you, but it'll be the home advantage is what teams are after in terms of obviously progression first, but win the group, you get home quarter final, which can be valuable in those 3rd level competitions. Okay, moving to, I suppose, 2nd level or colleges, hurling, indeed, schools. SMI are in action next weekend, Matt, in their under.
They're in action next Wednesday, Tom, in the 5G pitch in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. They're playing Coláiste Colleen, Ballincollig, and I find it hard to understand that SMI should go all the way up to almost to Ballincollig. Ballincollig is at most 10 to 15 minutes from Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Now, I must admit to having an interest in Coláiste Colleen. I have 3 grandchildren attending the school there, so. But, that's not here nor there, so I know very well what I'm talking about.
Pick up the phone and tell him to move it.
It's, I can't understand it. Like I find it hard to. Now I know, and we'll be talking about it again in a minute. But there's all sorts of difficulties with pitches and getting pitches at this time of the year and the bad weather and all that. I get all that, but like Coláiste Colleen, Ballincollig playing SMI, Newcastle West, and Páirc Uí Chaoimh seems very lopsided to me.
Yeah, it does. It's a bit of an odd one. Anyway, that's their preliminary quarterfinals, isn't it? So
preliminary quarterfinals. Now Sculpole, Drumcolor, Hazelwood, Drumcolor are due to play Tralee CBS in the preliminary quarterfinal. I think that may have been on this Wednesday. Now, I haven't seen the fixtures, and they're very slow in being updated. And I think they're slow in updating them because of the lack of availability of pitches.
Yeah.
In some of these cases, they're only getting pitches at the very last minute.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the results here for today, which is Wednesday the 3rd, and I do not see much by the way of Limerick involvement. So no, I don't believe they played today. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that fixture. I know we had success for
Coláiste Colleen,
Croom, sorry, yeah. Under 19, I'm not actually sure. There's not an awful lot of information available about this one, but I think it was under 19 Munster E competition, I believe, hurling. And they were captained by a man from Mungret St. Paul's, whose name is escaping me. Conor O'Lungig, I believe, was the captain of the team. They beat the Curran Liam O'Caneja, beating a team from Waterford, 310 to 113. I'm a bit sketchy on the details because there's not an awful lot of information, unfortunately, out there.
This is a problem, Tom, and SMI won the North Munster ladies. captained by Maya Smith, the well-known Camoge player. And they're now into the Munster semi. It was the North Munster they won, so they're into the Munster semi-final proper. Um, look, I can understand why we don't get the fixtures so much in advance, that much in advance, because the pitch situation, Tom, it's kind of chronic at the moment.
It is, yeah. Well, sure, they're trying to play these in the winter, so it's done with problems. But look, congratulations to Croom. I'm not sure, is there any more? Is there national competition in that?
And SMI.
Yeah, which?
SMI ladies.
Yeah,
They've won out the North Munster.
yeah. So they're in a Munster semi-final. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so we'll do our best to keep an eye on that as best we can, given the difficulty in trying to find fixtures and the need for the fixtures to even be set. Anyway, but
Now,
look,
talking about that All Ireland B, Tom, Skull Pole, they're in the quarter-final proper.
right.
The look at the draw fell in their favour. They're in the quarter-final proper.
Yeah, very good. So they'll await the draw. I think it'll be the early first or second week of January, really, when that gets. They'll be back.
Yeah, something around the 15th, 16th, 17th of January, I think.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see who they come up with in the draw once it's made later this week. I'd say probably after the preliminaries are out of the way. Matt, moving to Camoge.
Before we go now, there's two Limerick men involved in a very, very important game on Sunday. On Saturday evening at 1:00 in Mallow, when Buttevant take on Ballymcgilligan. The manager of the Buttevant team is Joey O'Hanlon, a St. Sinan's man, good St. Sinan's man, now living in Buttevant. And he has on board with him as coach, and soon to be Limerick coach, Ian Ryan, also from St. Sinan's. Ian, of course, one of the great forwards of his generation. And we wish the two lads and their charges the very, very best to look on Saturday in the Munster final.
Yeah, the Munster Junior Football Championship final. So let's see how it goes for the Limerick connection there. Just, Matt, to mention we've Camoge and a small bit of ladies football as well. But just before we come to that, the Munster football draw was made last week, and it is familiar opposition for Limerick. It's Cork, and it will be away, I believe, this year, given the
yes,
away
it's the third year on a row that Limerick and Cork. It was at the Gaelic Grounds last year. It was in Cork Park, Equive the year before. And Tom, I'm at a loss. Maybe it's my mind has gone simple with age or something. But my understanding was that, correct me if I'm wrong, that Kerry and Clare, as last year's finalists, were to get a bye to the Munster semi-finals. Now that has happened. It has happened, but they're playing each other. I thought they were kept apart. They were seeded, and each one of them would play a quarter-final winner. And what's happening now is that the two quarter-final winners are meeting in one semi-final, and Clare and Kerry in the other.
Yeah.
If there's anybody out there that would explain it to us and explain the rationale behind it, or ideally we'll invite him on the programme to explain it and take our questions.
Yeah, well,
I would love to know, Tom, how this has come about.
Yeah, I didn't see any disquiet though against it, Matt. So I wonder.
No. But that doesn't mean that
yeah, I know. There was no one from Clare.
That's kind of the clapometer job, who shouts the loudest or who claps the loudest. To me, it is wrong.
Yeah, well, the whole Munster Football Championship debacle it's a farce now to me at this stage. It seems to change. They seem to change the move the goalposts every so often. And seeding teams or not seeding teams, in this call to basically seed Cork or the higher league thing, I don't know, it's a lot of nonsense in my opinion. I think they should maybe seed the winners from the previous year, no matter who they are, and let the rest of them be drawn out accordingly. That'd be my simple solution.
Tom. Exactly.
Yeah, don't mind anyone else's league position or any of this nonsense, because I'd never seen the league position matter in any other province or in either of the codes really. It didn't matter, and suddenly it was brought in. But anyway, it was. Yeah,
Tom, this crying wolf over it. Munster year losing out because they can't have a Cork Kerry final and that sort of thing. Like McGrath Cup was brought in to give the 4 other counties a head start in the year. And what has happened? It hijacked by Cork and Kerry.
Just
McGrath Cup was intended for the 4 counties only. And if you look back in the history of it, Tom, the early days of the McGrath Cup was only contested by those 4 counties. And, so like, and we're going to have the McGrath Cup now in the first week of the new year. And the Munster Senior Hurling League.
We'll come to those in due course. Just to finally wrap the Munster draw, not the greatest draw for Limerick in regards that going to Cork is not the greatest draw in the world. But if they do win that, they will quietly fancy their chances against Waterford or Tipperary. So if they can pull off a bit of a surprise at this juncture, it looks like, by defeating Cork. And Cork football haven't been head and shoulders above Limerick for some time now. They've been ahead of Limerick, but not by much. And if Limerick can pull off that quarter-final victory, there'll be a strong possibility they could sneak into a Munster final. So that would be the route Jimmy Lee's men will be plotting. So look, it'll be interesting to see how it unfold. But look, the McGrath Cup and the league before that will take greater priority in their thoughts at the moment. Matt, moving to Camoge, a disappointing end to the season for Patrick's. Well, I believe there were 13 points down at halftime in Abbottstown, wasn't it? For their
in Abbottstown, Tom, it was that first half, that really defined it, and it really ended that chances. They were 2-8 to a point down at halftime. They had played against a very, very strong wind, and I suppose when you get to an All-Ireland semi-final, be it in any code, in any grade, at any level, you want every advantage that you can get from the get-go, and to be facing a strong breeze and to be 13 points down at halftime, like it was game over. You could say at halftime. Now they battled gamely in the second half and got a couple of goals, Leah Carroll and Sarah Fitzgerald. But one of the goals came at the very end. But I don't know what we have to do to get the best of this Antrim crowd. I just don't know.
Yeah, not worth thinking about. But just to put this positive spin on things for Patrick as well, ultimate achievement, ultimate goal achieved, I should say.
Absolutely, Tom. You must hand it to Patrick's. Well, they've done a fantastic job in that they were only promoted in 2023 to junior ranks at
from the junior ranks to intermediate.
From junior ranks to intermediate, and now next year they'll be playing senior. And I think, Tom, that Patrick's Well that I saw in the Munster final, they will adapt. And from the Patrick's Well that I had performed exceptionally well in the Limerick County final, that they will perform very, very satisfactorily at senior level next year.
Yeah, see how they fared out in the 8-team senior championship, but two out of 3 ain't bad. Munster and Limerick title for them in the cabinet after 2025 ain't bad at all. Matt, just finally, we've I suppose brief notes, I guess we should say, on the ladies football domestic calendar. The 19s, a lot of it concluded last weekend with the
I think the program is completed last weekend. Over Friday and Saturday, over Saturday and Sunday. Sorry, there were 6 finals, all under 19, A, B, and C, Cup and Shield in each. Johanna Castlemahan completed a fantastic year at underage level when they won the under 19 A Cup, beating Galtee Gales in the final. And in the B, Knockcaney, who won the Cup for the last 2 years, they had to settle for the Shield this year when they beat St. Sinnans. And as you know, Tom, Knockcaney lost the intermediate championship final this year, while St. Sinnans had won the junior championship this year and will be up intermediate next year. In the under 19B, Han beat St. Ailbe's in the final, in the A championship cup final. And Monaghan won the Shield final. Monaghan beat, escapes me for a minute. But if I go down to C, Ballylanders won the C Cup Championship, defeating Gerald Griffins, and Ula won the under-19 C Shield, defeating St. Patrick's.
Okay, commiserations and congratulations to those involved, and I suppose it does bring it into the calendar year with a month to spare, which is good going, and a good program with very little disruptions across ladies football in Limerick this year domestically. So we must
absolutely, and they're to be commended for it. And like it was very, very nice to have all 6 finals on the weekend, a weekend dedicated to the under-19s. But of course, very, very, very shortly, Tom, the attention in ladies football will turn to our new manager, Patrick O'Donnell, and coach Shane Kelly, and their management team is to be finalised. Of course, the National League, which will be starting, I think, the first week in February. The National League is actually starting the last week in in January, but that is for Division 4 only. The following week, Division 3, which we're involved in, will be starting. So there'll be a quick turnover, trust me.
Yeah, there will, and maybe the lads have spotted some younger talents as well in that under-19s competition that might form part of the panel, but all will be revealed in, I'm sure, early January, and it'll start to come fully into focus. Okay, Matt, I think that's all we have on our busy schedule as always, but
except Tom, to express our disappointment at first of all the under-20 football.
It's a bit of a farce now at this stage, to be honest with you.
It is, and it's a farce because the county board are unable to get pitches. It's as simple as that. That is what it's down to now. That they can't get pitches. Now, most of the games that are scheduled for this weekend are home fixtures for clubs. But where it comes, and from now on in, after the weekend, it'll be nearly all down to knockout and neutral venues, and then it's going to be a real bottleneck. And it's so disappointing. And doing nothing about this competition, not rescheduling it or rescheduling part of it, I think, Tom, is no longer an option. Now, also, there's one group in the under-20 B football championship where there's only one game remaining.
That's great. That's great, says he. But
there has been no game played.
Yeah,
it's all walkovers.
Yeah, I don't know where. I always say it. There's just not enough room in the calendar, and then people are so withered at the end of the year. I just don't see the interest in the competition. There is clearly interest in the Premier, and there's people will be happy. Whoever wins any of the grades will be happy, I'm sure. But I just don't see the number of teams doesn't align with the interest level come the end of the year.
No, Tom, because you're right. Officials, sub-officials, players, they're weary come December.
Yeah,
and
I know of one player about 18 or 19, not sure exactly what age he's on, but basically has played on a junior team, an adult senior team, or intermediate, whichever grade his club is at. Has played schools and now colleges, hurling and football probably in a lot of them, and then would have played, is now playing 20s, and I think was eligible for minor actually, so that probably puts them at 18. Minor in both codes, colleges in both codes, third level now in both codes, and on and on and on. And something has to give. And there's a lot of players who are in similar enough boats, and I don't know, football in this county at times is the sufferer of that, especially when you creep into the early days of December before a ball is kicked in the under-20 championship,
The under-20 football championship, the group stages of it should be played early in the year, even if they have to play without their county players. And it just be a seeding process, 1 to 4. Four teams per group, 1 to 4. You come back in October or November, and you're 4 straight quarter-final, semi-final, final.
Yeah. Or what about even playing it in that window where probably you're looking at early July or something? You could play the knockouts then. I don't know, in one competition. I'm not sure. I'd have to properly sit down and look about it. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Sitting on our hands and doing nothing about it will not.
Well, it's not an option, Tom. It's not an option any longer. And the extreme bad weather has added a new dimension of difficulty to the logistics of running off the competition. Like we hadn't this problem with pitches being closed and pitches being unplayable to the same degree in the past.
No, we didn't.
But it's a huge headache now for county board officials. Now there were to be 4 or 5 games played last night, all wiped out.
Yeah,
So no venues available.
No, I'd say we'll creep up to very close to the 31st of December, as we did maybe 2 or 3 years ago, to conclude these football competitions. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on them. That is it for us this week. We've still managed to have a 75-minute chat, but all in good spirits as always. Matt, we shall talk